Welcome back to the Sunday Sports Zone here on the local station, joined now by Jags beat writer for ESPN.com, Mike Dirocco. Thanks for taking the time.
Sure.
We'll get to free agency in a second, but want to start with Maurice Jones-Drew, announced his retirement earlier this week. What stands out to you about Mojo?
Wow. You know, I wrote several things, memories of Mojo. His toughness, I think, is probably one of the first things that stands out. I think if you were looking for one specific play, to me, it's got to be the block on Sean Merriman with the Chargers where he absolutely leveled them. But I think, you know, for a stretch in his career, that 3-year stretch, I think it was 11, 10, and 9, he was the best back in the NFL, or one of the best backs in the NFL, 1,600 yards in 2011. Just his toughness, his durability to that point. Obviously, he had some stuff at the end of his career, but to that point, his durability and the way he was able to run, his running style, despite being the size he was in terms of height.
And fans seemed to love him.
Oh, absolutely. It was hard not to like him because of his personality and how outgoing he was, and those touchdown celebrations when he mimicked the LeBron James touchdown pregame thing. That was awesome. So, you know, Maurice was a good guy. I only got to cover him for 1 year here, but obviously I saw his entire career here. But he was a really good guy, and I think the fans of Jacksonville really loved him.
Let's get into free agency, because that's what seems to be the hot topic of conversation right now.
Yep.
Can't officially sign guys until Tuesday. You and I were talking offset. The Jags this morning, at least when you look at the Jags fans,
Right.
It's like the world is not coming to an end. Just because you didn't get Randall Cobb and just because you didn't get Ndamukong Suh, there are other guys on the market. What have you seen in the last couple hours? Obviously, Julius Thomas is a name that comes to mind.
Right. Yeah, I think he's the guy that the Jaguars are targeting, and they are close to, if not, have already hammered out a deal with Julius Thomas. So I'm expecting him to be here. But you're right, earlier in the day, I mean, guys were going off the board. I guess Cobb went last night, and,
right.
and then the Suh news, I think $114 million. I mean, that's just, wow, that's a crazy contract. But everybody had in their mind, because the Jaguars had all this money, that they would be able to get whoever they wanted because they have all this money, and that's not how it works in the NFL. I mean, there were guys, I mean, fans were wanting Balaga and Cobb and Thomas and McCourty. And look, in free agency, if you get one big name, big-time guy, you're doing pretty well. If you get two, that's fantastic. Nobody gets three. Nobody gets three. I mean, and that's just asking for the moon. But free agency doesn't even really start until Tuesday, so we've got a couple more days, and the Jags will make some waves, I guarantee it. The Thomas thing will be big, and, you know, who knows who else they're going to sign, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if at the end of it, Jags fans are much happier than they are or were this morning.
Okay, the who else, that leads us to DeMarco Murray, who a lot of people didn't expect this to be even a possibility. Mm-hmm. Is it a possibility?
It sounds like, you know, there's some rumblings that Dave Caldwell is talking to his agent, and they're trying to hammer out a deal. I would hope that it wouldn't be one of those excessive running back deals, because DeMarco Murray is on the back end of his career, I think. He's had a lot of work with the Cowboys, over 500 touches last year, a lot of pounding. I think everybody's seen with Maurice Jones-Drew, who we were talking about, how physical this game is and what it can do to a running back. And he turned just, what, 27, DeMarco Murray did. That's coming up on that magical number of 30. You know, maybe you get one or two really good productive years out of DeMarco Murray. But, boy, I'm not a big fan of the move if they make it. I think you can find a young back. I think NFL has shown you can find backs in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round. And, you know, you can piecemeal something together.
Let's not forget, Maurice Jones-Drew retired at the age of
29. Yep.
So make of that what you will. And, of course, when you look at this Jags team, Dave Caldwell, $68 million in cap space. But is this the year that he needs to spend, or does he have Shad Khan's patience at this point?
Well, I mean, they have that 89% cash cap salary thing that they have to deal with, which means they have to, in a 4-year period, they have to spend 89% of the cap in cash, and that expires, I think, 2016. So they've got this offseason and next season to spend to get up to that point. But, you know, this was the year when they first started this rebuild that they pointed to making a move in free agency. They cleared some stuff off the cap in the past couple of years, concentrated on the draft, and this year was the year that they were supposed to make a move in free agency. Now, when fans think make a move in free agency, we automatically think, and us in the media too, we automatically think big names. But that may not be exactly what Dave Caldwell is thinking. He's just going to try and make some moves that solidify some spots, get some competition at others. And look, they did land theoretically until Tuesday. It's not official till Tuesday, but they did land one of the big guys that they wanted, Julius Thomas. So, you know, we'll see. But they're going to spend. I mean, there's going to be 6, 7, 8 guys that are probably signed by the time this is done.
Give me one bold prediction for the Jags offseason.
One bold prediction for the Jags offseason. I think the Jaguars aren't going to sign a big-time veteran wide receiver like we maybe thought. And one of those two guys, whether it's Allen Robinson or Marquise Lee, I think it's going to be Allen Robinson personally. We're going to see him in the offseason take that next step, and he may be on the fringe of being a #1 wide receiver.
You heard it from this guy, ESPN Jags beat writer Mike Dirocco. You can follow him on Twitter. What's the handle?
ESPN Dirocco.
There you go. Simple enough.